I'm Ben Guerin. I'm the Episcopal Chaplain to the University of Arizona. I'm 37, 38, somewhere in there, and I use he, him pronouns. I am the Episcopal Chaplain to the University of Arizona, also known as the Vicar of Emmaus Collegiate Chapel. The question is, how has being gay impacted my life in the church? What does it mean to be gay in the Episcopal Church? I grew up in a very anti-LGBTQ section of the Episcopal Church. The expectation I was presented over and over again growing up is that I was incapable of discernment with the Holy Spirit, that I was expected to be forced into a space of lay celibacy, period, no questions asked, nothing about what was happening internally in my heart, in my soul, in my emotional state, in my mental state was at all relevant. I was supposed to be forced into a space of lay celibacy. What do I do when I do my duties that I do? So about 40% of my job, I would say, is doing sort of the old school type of stuff, which is running worship, formation programming, pastoral care, hearing confessions, that type of thing. And then about 60% of my job otherwise than that is what's called chaplaincy work, where your role is to be a safe, known adult in the community who can provide assistance to students, as well as faculty and staff, but primarily students who just need a conversation partner or need some direction. And in that role, my principal job is just to listen, to help people reflect on their lives.
When Bailey and I were getting ready to get married in the spring of 2018, fairly early on, I asked Ben if he would be willing to serve as the deacon at the service of our wedding, and he said yes, which was delightfully exciting. We were very happy, and he was like, so I'll wear, the deacon outfit or whatever, but I'll have to look and see what I'll wear to the reception. And he looked and he wouldn't tell me. He found whatever it was he was going to wear to the reception, and he would not say anything about what it was. He was like, you'll just have to see. And then, so the wedding goes off delightfully. We get to the reception, and he has found this, he has like, what kind of hat would you...
Surely it was a newsboy cap.
It was a newsboy cap, like a tweed newsboy cap, and then a full Carolina blue and white seersucker suit.
Like pinstripe?
Yeah, seersucker's pinstripe. And with an ascot.
He was wearing an ascot.
And I was just like, this is the most Ben Guerin thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I know it's probably not true to say that Ben is totally unself-conscious or totally without anxiety, but he inspires me to be more at home in my own body and to be more comfortable with my own self because of the way that he is so... I want a word other than authentic, because authentic feels like a buzzword, but he is so genuine, and it's such a gift.
So thoroughly himself.
Yeah.
The thing I find very striking about Ben is the particular way in which he is pastoral. So being pastoral usually is code for making somebody feel better in like kind of a Jesus-y way, And sometimes pastoral can be kind of a euphemism for not the truest, but the more comforting thing, right? And Ben can't do that. He can't say something that is comforting but not true, because he's not comforted by untruths, which means that talking to Ben about something that is wrong is a bracing experience, because he's just not going to bullshit you to make you feel better. But he also cares.
So I am currently a member of the Standing Committee of the Episcopal Diocese of Arizona, which is a very fancy way of saying basically the board of directors for the nonprofit that is the Episcopal Church in the state of Arizona. So I'm running for that again because my term is up, and you can, like a lot of things, you can do 2 consecutive terms. But it's also really important work. I also think it's really important for me as a younger clergy person, a millennial clergy person who is consistently working with college students, with various other individuals in the midst of their life, this sort of what is the church going to look like next? I have some sense of what that might be, I guess. And so it's good to have me at that table as a conversation partner, because otherwise most everyone else in the room are boomers. In regards to who is allowed to sit in this chamber in the midst of voting. So that bit is regarding if a parish has not provided its full supply, the deacons from that parish do not receive vote, nor do the lay people, but the ordained priests do. So
those who have been elected to General Convention deputy in the lay order are Judy Conley, Dan Packard, Dawn Conley, and Cody Bro. The alternates in order will be Clyde Koontz, Austin Kerr, Julia Coleman, and Dave Loder. Thank you for everyone pointing.
So it's relatively straightforward. There was a vote. We had the ability to vote for 2 clerics, and in the midst of all of that, we had expanded the voting field to include not only priests but also deacons. And when we did that, suddenly the field expanded. And my general thought is the 2 people who got elected were both, generally speaking, to representing a diversity of opinions across the political spectrum. And I definitely don't necessarily represent a diversity of opinions across the political spectrum. And I think a lot of people were sort of gauging between 2 sort of centrist voices. And everyone was like, okay, we'll put the non-centrist voices second. But because they were all looking at these 2 centrist voices, the 2 centrist won. Now, people were like, afterwards, were you upset? And I was like, well, no, because it's an honor to serve as a standing committee member, but it's a whole lot of all the technical, pragmatic work behind the scenes that's really important, but it's not like you have power, it's not like you have prestige. You're doing paperwork and legal work for the diocese. And so I was more than glad to be serving and to sort of be a voice in those councils. But there are plenty of solid voices in the midst of that council now, and I'll go about and do other things for the church.